Hi again everyone and welcome to another episode of Board Game Banter with me, Georgie.
And me, Dom.
Today we're going to be discussing Kickstarter, yay or nay. In case some of you don't know what Kickstarter is, I'm sure most of you do, but just in case, it is a website where designers of games, there is other options, you can music, live events, festivals, whatever, but we're discussing board games because it's a board game channel. So in regards to board games, it is a website where designers of board games can go and put their ideas forward and ask for money towards them. In the end, basically the people who pledge, if a certain amount, will receive copies of the game with many subtle levels of differences, i.e. Kickstarter exclusive this and Kickstarter exclusive that, and pay $500 and have your name inscribed in the back of the board game forever.
Just
random things like that. But that's basically what Kickstarter is, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, the reason we chose Yay or Nay Kickstarter, Yay or Nay on Kickstarter for this topic today is because it's really a hot topic in the board gaming world at the moment. You know, it's a lot of people are really talking about it, and it's all over YouTube. And really, it's just a really kind of current event, really. It can be used in lots of different ways by games developers. I mean, mainly by people who are maybe have a really good idea for a game, but just don't have the financial backing or can't get maybe the exposure needed to be able to sell that game. But it's also being used by maybe some of the larger companies as well, who maybe have got ideas maybe on the back burner, or ideas that are maybe for a more niche market, you know, maybe not quite so mass appeal. Yeah. That allows them to be able to get it out to the people that really want to back it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main reason I wanted to talk about Kickstarter today in particular was because there seems to be a mass amount of big companies taking ideas that I'm pretty sure is going to sell. The Ghostbusters one seems to be one that comes to my mind. Yeah. It's a really good theme. People know it's going to sell. The films did great. The new film's coming out soon. Somebody got the right to make the rights to make the board game, and instead of just making it as the game, they've decided to put it on Kickstarter and raise hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars towards it, and you know, everyone's going to then receive their own copy of the Ghostbusters game with all these exclusive pieces that you get because you've backed it on Kickstarter. And it's done by a big company. I mean, I'm not really sure how I feel about that, really, to be honest. A company that's already established itself with games.
Yeah, I mean, you know my opinion on this. I mean, like, I don't have a problem with big companies, you know, using it, as I said, to get ideas that are maybe out for a more niche market. But when it's something like Ghostbusters or something that's really, you know, it's going to sell. You know,
we're not hitting on the Ghostbusters.
Not as I said, not having a go at any game or any company. But the point is I just sometimes feel with some of the bigger companies with ideas that are, you know, already established, like they're going to sell. People are interested in them.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe a little bit kind of wrong to use Kickstarter in a way for, you know, it's there for companies or smaller people who don't have the money. Some of these big companies already have the financial ability to make these games. Yeah. They don't necessarily need people to kind of pre-order them almost to buy, because that's all it really is, especially when it's a game like that people are going to buy anyway. It's really kind of using it for a pre-order. But I love seeing it being used for smaller companies, because, you know, there really are people out there with great ideas, but they cannot get the money. But I mean, as I'm saying, some of these bigger companies, I think they could maybe just lay off a little bit on using Kickstarter quite as much.
I mean, I would have to agree. There does seem to be a massive, not instead of game designers, game publishers using Kickstarter. I say a mass. I'm not going to say a mass. I'm going to say a select few. Obviously, they started off generally as people who use Kickstarter in the first instance. I mean, some of them did. People who use Kickstarter in the first instance made their first game, and then after that have just, you know, now have their own game publishing company, and with the game publishing company have put the ideas on Kickstarter again instead of just releasing them to the masses and knowing that they're going to sell. So I don't really know how I feel about it. To be completely honest, I don't actually mind it, I think, in the long run. I think overall it's, if, for example, I'm going to keep saying the Ghostbusters game. The reason I say that is because I can't wait till it gets released, either through Kickstarter or any means, because I absolutely love the Ghostbusters and I can't wait to see the new movie. It just, in general, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So in regards to that, if they didn't think that the mass was at just the mass in general, the popularity of it was going to be so great that it was going to sell and all the copies were going to disappear, then they're going to print it again, maybe make a couple of expansions. If they didn't think that was going to happen, then I'm glad they put it on Kickstarter, because I'm glad it's getting released, and I would rather that happen than it just fade into nothing, disappear, and just get forgotten about.
Yeah, but I think the amount of backers that have been had on a game like Ghostbusters just proves that, and there's no way that they didn't think that people would buy it. I mean, like, there's so many Ghostbusters fans out there that it's like, and it's not just that. I mean, there are other big game designers that have used it. For example, I mean, like,
Conan's another one that comes to my mind as well. It's
like Conan's another really big franchise, like something that's established, like people want it. I mean, like an example of an idea of like what I really like how it's been used is Meeple Source, where people have that's like almost like been using it for, it's a smaller company but using it to actually be able to expand on games. Like, it's an idea that is probably, if you walked into a games company or a kind of toy company and tried to pitch that idea, it doesn't sound very good in an interview pitch. But the thing is, to people who play games, to people who are gamers, it matters, and people know that the quality of your components matters. So being able to upgrade your games, like with Meeple Source, is a really good example of a smaller company that's using Kickstarter, in my opinion, the right way.
Yeah, I would agree. In case some of you don't know what Meeple Source are, it is a company that make it, I wouldn't say expansions, but upgrades for your games, add-ons. Yeah, so instead of, they do like Pandemic add-ons and Bang the Dice add-ons, and just like most of your popular games, they're Zombie Dice add-ons. You know, they basically make wooden tokens of that kind, shaped to whatever it needs to be within Zombie Dice's brains. What was another one we were talking about? Pandemic. There is the little disease markers and things. So they start. You know, I'm not even sure how small of a company they are now. They're certainly making enough money through their Kickstarter pledges and stuff. But go for them. I mean, their ideas are great, and what they do for the gaming industry, in my opinion, is absolutely amazing. So go to you, Meeple Source.
I think the key point I was trying to make is really that I think Kickstarter should be used to try and get original and new ideas out there. If you're just kind of redoing something, or maybe doing something from an already established franchise, then that could be done with other means. I think, you know, it could maybe just sometimes maybe take up some of the money that may have gone to some smaller, you know, because obviously, you know, we all like to see smaller companies get chances.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
You know, because, you know, especially because I would think as well, the ones that are run by bigger companies are going to have a bit more publicity on the Kickstarter page. I mean, it's easier for them to get it out, so therefore you'll get people going on the Kickstarter website and backing the big stuff, you know, and maybe not actually scrolling down enough, and they've spent their money for the month that they're going to put onto Kickstarter, and then they scroll down and they go, oh, there's a really cool game by a guy who's only making his first game. Oh, but I can't back it anymore because I've given it to a bigger company. And as I said,
remembering with Kickstarter as well, that I'm sure there's definitely an option that you can back it, and until the last minute you can pull out. So you can pull your money back out if you see something else. But I know what you mean, when these big companies sort of see, sort of absorb all
the names of the companies and the designers can kind of grab your attention.
Yeah, really and they quickly go in and then you back, and then that's you for the one. But I guess our overall opinion on Kickstarter, yay or nay?
Yeah, like Kickstarter, I'm definitely. It's kind of a bit of both, really. I mean, like, I'm definitely for Kickstarter. I just feel that it maybe has to be used in the correct way to maybe just take advantage of an established name, or take advantage of a situation, you know, to really kind of help people who need it.
So you're like yay, nay?
Yeah, I would say that.
You're like in the middle somewhere. I would say, in my opinion, I'm yay all the way. Kickstarter, yes. If you feel as a publishing company that you will not have the mass appeal to bring it, you know, to take it to people, to bring the game out and it's not going to sell that well, to test the waters first, you want to take it to Kickstarter, go for it, because if you're not going to bring it out otherwise, I would much rather see it on Kickstarter than nowhere else at all. And for individual game designers, like I consider him a good friend, Edo Baraf, he has released a game on Kickstarter that you know, which went through and worked, and is now releasing another game on Kickstarter soon. And I just feel that people can get their ideas out there, and it's absolutely brilliant. So a big yes from me on Kickstarter. But you've been watching another episode of Board Game Banter with me, Georgie.
Me, Tom.
Catch you guys later.
Later, guys.